Donald Trump gave a speech against Hillary Clinton yesterday. Let's watch a piece of it and then we'll break it down.
Everywhere I look, I see the possibilities of what our country could be. But we can't solve any of these problems by relying on the politicians who created the problems themselves. We'll never be able to fix a rigged system by counting on the same people who have rigged it in the first place. The insiders wrote the rules of the game to keep themselves in power and in the money. That's why we're asking Bernie Sanders voters to join our movement, so together we can fix the system for all Americans so important. This includes fixing all of our many disastrous trade deals, and they are disastrous. They're destroying our country. Because it's not just the political system that's rigged, it's the whole economy. It's rigged by big donors who want to keep wages down. It's rigged by big businesses who want to leave our country, fire our workers, and sell their products back into the United States with absolutely no consequences for them.
Okay, I listened to the whole thing, but last night when I was 11 minutes into the speech, he hadn't said a conservative thing yet. 11 minutes in, it was just wall-to-wall populism and liberalism. I was amazed by it. Like, I know Trump does this thing where every once in a while, like 50% of the time, he'll do some progressive rhetoric, but it was even more than that yesterday. So, and people have been, theorizing about this on Twitter to me. Some people said, I think this is partially true, that, well, now he knows he's down in the polls. He's smart enough to know you always go to the left when you're down in the polls because left-wing things are popular, so you turn left and then all of a sudden your numbers kick back up. But either way, man, is this a red flag for Hillary Clinton. Now, I had Donald Trump as the favorite to win the presidency when the polls showed he was the favorite. He had a tiny lead over Hillary Clinton at one point, and he was running a better campaign. That flipped big time. So then it became that Hillary Clinton in some polls was up by 12 points, 13 points. The lowest one I saw was 7 points. So she has about an 8 or 9 point on average lead now. But I warned you, even though that's the case, it ain't going to be a cakewalk, and there's going to be a yo-yo effect. And I still think there's going to be a yo-yo effect. I think he's going to go up at times, she's going to go down, vice versa, and it's just going to keep going. And if he continues to run a campaign like this, he's a force to be reckoned with. Because, understand, his biggest problem is that he doesn't have a traditional campaign going. We covered that devastating fact the other day about how he spent $0.00 in swing states on ads. That's beyond ridiculous. You're shooting yourself in the foot if you don't have a traditional campaign worked out as well. So he needs to up his traditional campaign game. But outside of that, his messaging is actually nearly flawless. So, he gets terrible on social issues, but that being a dick on social issues is what always keeps the Republican base with him. And then that also frees him up to turn massively left on economic issues, for example, which the Republican base doesn't even necessarily disagree with, believe it or not, according to the polls. And it allows him to say stuff like he said here. He says the system is rigged. You can't rely on the same people that rigged it to fix it. Kind of a devastating point against Hillary Clinton. I mean, the Clinton family, they've raised over $3 billion in their political careers. Is anybody stupid enough that there aren't strings attached, to think there aren't strings attached there? And they don't have to do favors for the people who gave them the money? I mean, you would have to be beyond naive. That's like a toddler can see the problem there and can see the conflict of interest. Of course, you have the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation is, you set up this, again, massive conflict of interest where, hey, look at that. Foreign governments, Saudi Arabia, they give money to Bill Clinton to give a speech, and then, when Hillary was Secretary of State, she approves a weapons deal that goes to them. Wow! What a coincidence! And the list goes on and on. I mean, how anybody could look at the Clintons and think like, they're real progressive lions, it's just mind-numbingly silly. And then he just goes on to ask Bernie Sanders supporters to join his movement. Dude, that's not something any other Republican would have ever done. I mean, Could you imagine Mitt Romney asking the most progressive people in the country, like, oh, by the way, come on, we don't agree on everything, but there are some things that we agree on. Let's go. No, Mitt Romney wouldn't even try. You heard 47%, lazy moochers. I don't want their fucking vote anyway. And people look at Trump like he's somehow worse than the other Republicans. No, this would show he's better. Now, again, I know it's just rhetoric and you shouldn't believe him, but he's making an effort, and that effort is going to work to a certain extent. When he keeps hitting these anti-establishment talking points, I don't think establishment Democrats get how effective that is. Because that's the main thing that Bernie supporters hate about Hillary Clinton. She is the establishment. She is the status quo. She is a puppet of Wall Street. So if he keeps talking about that and he keeps asking Bernie supporters, you always have me, there's going to be some movement, man. Now, we covered the polls before. Trump said something ridiculous like, I'm going to get 40% of them or something. We actually crunched the numbers. We had numbers available from various different polls, and it's not 40%, but actually, I think it was about 20% he could get. That's not, like, that wouldn't have happened, again, with Mitt Romney or with John McCain. So he's making an effort, and it may pay dividends. And then also, when he talks about trade deals, dude, Hillary Clinton is so immensely vulnerable to attacks because her record is bad. I mean, call it what it is. She voted for the Iraq War. She voted for the Patriot Act. All the foreign intervention she was in favor of, Libya, Syria, you name it. So here comes a guy who's like, oh, look at all these horrible things. Look at the fact that she supported NAFTA. She supported the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act deregulation, although he doesn't bring that up because he also supports deregulation. But he says, trade deals, man, I'm going to get us out of those. And somebody said it on Twitter, too. They're like, has Hillary even asked for Bernie Sanders' support? Like the support of his supporters? Has she said, I'm asking the voters to come to me for reasons X, Y, and Z? I think Trump has honestly reached out more than Hillary Clinton has. So, man, this is going to be a dogfight election. I'm telling you right now. And just to put the cherry on top here to explain to you guys, because I feel like sometimes people in my audience, they get a little too rah-rah Trump. Like, there are many Bernie supporters who hate the system so much, they're like, burn it down and I'm going to vote for Trump. I just need you to understand he's also a massive liar. Like, people get the sense, oh, Hillary's a liar. That's not. Yes, she is. Trump is also a massive liar. We've covered those lies in detail. So I find it hilarious that in the midst of his rant here, which is politically effective, don't get me wrong, but he says, these corporations are shipping the jobs overseas and they want to keep wages down. That's almost literally what you said in a debate. Like, he's like, oh, unbelievable. They say they want to keep wages low. Dude, you said that when you were asked about the minimum wage. There were protesters outside of one of the Republican debates, and Trump was like, no, we can't raise it. We got to be competitive. We got to keep wages low. We got to keep wages low. And Bernie Sanders in the Democratic debates hammered him for that. He's like, look at this buffoon. He just said we got to keep wages low, and he's pretending he's for the people. You just said we got to keep wages low. And now Trump, because, nothing ever sticks to Trump, Teflon Don over here, he's like, yeah, the corporations want to keep wages low. I'm against that. Bitch, you were just for that. You were just for that. You were just for that. So I want to caution everybody again. Don't believe it. He's fucking playing you like a fiddle. He's playing you like a fiddle. This is what he does. He's a con artist. He's a scam artist. He can crowd surf. He can sense where the crowd is at emotionally and find a way to make you think, maybe. No, maybe not. Maybe not. If you don't vote for Hillary Clinton, believe me, I totally understand it. I ain't voting for Hillary Clinton. I'm in New York. I don't think I have to. So I'm probably going to vote for Jill Stein. But don't you dare think, oh, let me vote for this buffoon, because he's just scamming you. He's just trying to get your vote so he can get in power and run roughshod like the fascist narcissist that he is. So the 50% of stuff that he says that is good, you also need to weigh in the 50% of stuff that he says that is absolutely monumentally insane. Like when he says, hey, we should purposely kill civilians in the Middle East. We should torture, quote, even if it doesn't work. The Geneva Conventions is the problem. Let's ban all Muslims from entering the U.S. Let's deport 11 million people. And I was getting in arguments about this the other day to the point where I was like banging my head against the wall because of how profoundly unnuanced people are, where they were like, yeah, well, Obama did deportations too. Yeah, he did, and I'm against those. But you know what? There's a big difference between deporting however many Obama deported and all undocumented immigrants. Obama did not deport all undocumented immigrants. But they go, no, well, deporting is wrong, so it's equal. No, but it's literally not equal. We have numbers. Trump says, I will try to deport all undocumented immigrants. Obama has deported a record number. To be fair, he has, and that's horrible. But it ain't all. So there's a difference. We have to understand that nuance exists even if you don't want it to. So yes, corporatist establishment Democrats may be shitty as a motherfucker. But at the end of the day, when you sit down and you go issue for issue, they are not as bad as the Republicans. That's not an opinion, that's a fact if you care about progressive policy positions and values and goals. So I need everybody to not get it twisted here and don't do a full false equivalence, because that's intellectual sloppiness is what it is. But again, with that being said, I ain't telling you to vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm not voting for Hillary Clinton. I'm in New York. I'm probably voting for Jill Stein. Like I said a million times, I would vote for if it was in Ohio or Florida, because I think Trump is such a danger that you can't risk it. But is this going to be an effective strategy for Trump moving forward? Yeah. If he keeps this strategy up, it's going to be tough for Hillary. And I don't know if Hillary knows how to deal with that, specifically in the debates and stuff, because she has this idea of how she can combat Trump, and I don't know if she can roll with the punches, because Trump is clever as fuck in that he can hit her from every direction. He can hit her from a right-wing direction, which it'll be easier for her to defeat him if he does that. Or he could just pivot massively left of her and hit her from there. And if he goes left of her on almost every issue, man, she's in trouble. She's in a lot of trouble, because she's going to be like, what's happening? He's to the left of me. This makes no sense. And her talking points are going to get all mangled in her head, and her fake calculating politician persona crumbles.